This BookLife.com video tutorial, this time about how to create a page for your book, or what we call your project. So when you're logged in and you've created, or you have your author profile page here, you'll see in the center of that page is a link that says Create New Project. So when you click that link, you're given a series of screens where you can input the information about your project. First, we ask for title, and our test project is going to be called Mona Lisa. If you had an ISBN number for your book or an ASIN number, you could click here and enter that number, and we would go out and pull in much of the information, the title, the author, and some other information about your book, and put it into your, sort of pre-populate it into your project page. But for our purposes right now, we're going to create a new one. So I've entered the title. You click the blue Next button, and now it's assuming your role is as author, and it's using your name. If we had a pen name, we could overwrite this and type that in, although in this case we're going to stick to our name. The different roles you can have are illustrator, translator, contributor, editor, depends on what your role is with the book. So you'd put that in. Once that information is there, you click the Next button again. And now we talk about which project phase your book is in. If you're creating it still, if you're still in the writing process and you have editors working with you, then you'd put Create for it. If you're in the publish process, let's say you have a designer working on the cover and you're talking to different people about distribution for it, you'd select Publish. Or if it's already ready, it's already available, and you're marketing it, you could click Market. So for our purposes here, we would click Market. We also give you two viewable ways of having people see it or not see the book. If you select Public, it means that everybody coming to BookLife can see your project. If you select Private, it means that only you can see your project. And that'll depend on what your preferences are for how you want people to see it, depending if you want to have people come in and take a look at things as they're collaborating with you, or if you'd rather wait until everything's ready. For our purposes now, I'm going to set it to private since this is just a test. Then we talk about the different categories for grouping this with other books. So for instance, what's the age range on it? Is it an adult book or a children's young adult book? For our test right now, we'll call it children's young adult. Then you have different categories you can select, both in fiction and in nonfiction. And also we have poetry, comics, graphic novels, and spirituality inspirational. So let's say for our purposes now, we're going to do this as a romance. Then you hit Next. Here you would type in the synopsis. So this is a synopsis. I will type that in for now, but you could lavish much more information if you wanted to. And again, this is so when people come to your page, they'll get an idea of what your book is about. Once you're done with that, you can upload your cover art. You don't have to do that now, so if you don't have your cover art, you can skip that, and we'll see in a moment where you can add it later. So we do Next. Here's a page which tells us the basic information about this. If this is correct, then we go ahead and we click the Submit button. And then now we have the project page for our book. And here it is. And it's got the title of the book here. It's also giving us editable listings of things here. So if we said, oh, actually, the name isn't Mona Lisa, it's Mona Lisa, we would go in here. We would change that to Mona Lisa. We would hit the blue checkbox. And now the name of the book is going to be Mona Lisa. And when we refresh our screen, it'll show up that way as well. And there it is. So then if we wanted to upload the photo, we could do that here. I'm going to choose a photo, which I happen to have for the cover. Not surprisingly, it's very recognizable. And like our author profile photo as well, if we wanted to change that, we just click this arrow and we can choose something else. But for now, that's our cover. This was the synopsis we had. If we wanted to change that synopsis, we can go in here and edit it, and when we're done editing, we hit the blue checkbox. Now, Excerpt is a great way for you to give people an idea of what your book is. We have you upload it in PDF format. It doesn't need to be long. It can be a page or two, but you want to give people sort of whet their appetite for what's in the book. So if you want to do that with a PDF, you click here, you would choose it on your computer, and then you would click the blue checkbox, and then your excerpt would show up there. Another great feature is reviews and news. It's very easy for you to add any reviews you get from people. You type in the source of the reviews, you actually put in the text of whatever the review was, then we put in text here which actually displays as a link, and you can put the URL. So for instance, if you had received a great Amazon review, you would say Amazon user as the source of your review. You would type in the text of it, which I'll try to do well. The link text, we might say Amazon reviews here, and then the URL, which would be to the exact page on Amazon where your review was. And when we save it, it now shows up here and says this is the review from Amazon Reviews. And if we didn't like it, if we made an error or we didn't want to show that review anymore, all we have to do is click the red X and it goes away. Same thing with news. Anytime we do, if we have news items, if you're going to go out on tour, on a book signing tour, or if somebody did a nice piece for you in a newspaper, or if you did a radio interview, you want to do the same thing here. You want to add that news information there. Pardon me. And every time you add something here, it gets posted onto the front page of BookLife.com. So it's helpful. It's great because it makes your listing that much more robust, but also it invites people to come back and to look at your book's project listing. Down here we have formats, and what this allows you to do is to list the different ways, the different types or versions of the book that you have available for sale. So for instance, if you had an ebook on Amazon, you'd be able to say ebook here. It already has the title and subtitle information. If it was on Amazon, you'd have an ASIN number. You could enter in the publisher information if you wanted, the pub date as well, the price. So if it's, let's say, $5.95, you would type that in there. You'd say how many pages, and then most importantly, you put the purchase URL. So for instance, you may sell Amazon ebook editions, plus you might also have an Apple ebook edition, which would have a different URL for people to buy that version. Plus you might also have a print URL, which is sold through whoever your print distributor is. So it gives you the option to point to whatever the best links are for the different versions of your book that you have available. At the top of this page, we also have 3 different promotional opportunities for you here. Some are free and some are cost money. But when you mouse over any one of them, you get additional information about them. So this link is to get your book reviewed. There are 2 options for getting your book reviewed. One is a publisher's weekly review, which is free, as we say down here, but it's not guaranteed. We also have the option down here of a BookLife review, which costs $399 and is guaranteed. So using this, you can mouse over, you can take a look at what options might be best for you. And again, whether it's free or paid, you click here and it takes you to a form that you fill out for both. Easy to do. If you want to advertise your book, we have 2 very nice ways here. One of them is PW Select. One of them is Book Fair Display. Again, there's more information listed here about it. And when you decide you actually want to do that, you click the appropriate link down here. And then if you want to enter your book in the BookLife prize, you click here and it gives you information. Because our book is a fiction book, it's not currently able to be entered because the current BookLife prize is a nonfiction contest, but this area here will show you all the information. So again, these 3 boxes up here give you ways that you can promote your book on BookLife and in Publishers Weekly. And so that's how you create a project page for your book. You can create as many project pages as you would like. It's completely free, and these tools allow you to promote your book on the home page of BookLife. I'll show you where that is here. So every time you add some new information to your book, it gets promoted here. Add new information to your project page, it gets promoted here so other people can see it, and they can say, okay, great, I want to click and see the listing for this particular page. And again, you can always go back to your project page by this little sidebar here, and here's the name of your book. You go to it, here's the book's information here. Oh, two more things too. If you decided it was currently in private mode for your project page, if you wanted to change that, you could click here and set it to public. And also the same thing with the phase. If you had started out with a phase and you were still in create phase and you wanted to shift it to publish or market, you could do that here as well. But again, all of that is available through your project page. You can get to your project page here in the sidebar, or when you're on the home page of Publishers Weekly, you'll see it listed here. And that's it for the video tutorial for the project pages.